Welcome. This is episode 2 of my story of my cancer, my journey that I wrote back in 1997 after my experience with cancer in 1991, where I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So we'll start with the next piece. So I find and learn all about my disease, Hodgkin's lymphoma, lymphocyte depleted, stage 4B. Sounds like a TV soap. My life has been like a soap. Unbelievable. And if this is a soap, I'm exit stage left. It's a lot to come to terms with. So now that I have come to grips, I've learnt so much. I've decided my cancer will not control me. You may have been my enemy, but now I know all about you. I did a lot of research on the disease, on treatments, both medical, natural, and the psychological and emotional parts of dealing with a major illness. So I know more about my cancer than some house surgeons do. And I did. It was like me who was always the one that was having to say there's something wrong. Or like I had one over the years who tried to tell me that I don't have a spleen. And I said, I can tell you now, I have a spleen. And it wasn't until they did all the scans and stuff, they said, oh, actually you do. But we know that with Hodgkin's lymphoma, you generally don't have a spleen. But I didn't do anything abnormal. Like generally it does come present in in your neck, and I think that's why one of the reasons it took so long to get a diagnosis, because all my symptoms were from my lower back, and I was struggling to walk, and that's not generally where Hodgkin's presents itself, but that's where it did for me, and I did do things different to others. So you will not have power and control over me. I take back my power and take back control. This is my life, and I am in charge. Whatever decisions that meant, whether it's with natural, whether it's with chemo, or with radiotherapy, which I did. I started off with chemo after I had my staging laparotomy, and I had issues with some of the chemo. And during that process, they decided that I couldn't have one of the chemo regimes, and so I would have to start again after 3 months in, all over again. And so what should have been like a 6-month of treatment turned out to be a year. I also had radiotherapy at the point somewhere through the middle of that, where I was having chemo and radiotherapy together, because my major mass, which was in my back, wasn't growing, but it wasn't reducing either. So I had radiotherapy as well with that for 6 weeks. And then I was offered to have a bone marrow transplant using my own cells. And I did a lot of research in that, and it was just really new treatments. Because you've got to look at, this was like 30 years ago. And I decided that that wasn't for me. I was just absolutely exhausted by that point, and I just said, I'm done. I'm just going to have to be what it's going to be. And lucky for me, I'm still here. So I not only know my cancer, but I know my body. I am in tune. Before the doctors, I know what is happening, and I am in control. And I think that was a very important thing of what I went through, was that I had already had some training in mindful body connection and the art of relaxation, and really getting to know what your body's feeling and what you're doing. And so for me, that really helped through the journeys where I could actually know and be in tune with my body of knowing when something was different. And that's why I actually encourage people to keep a journal and to write everything down, because you can then go back to the doctors and go, this has been happening. It's been happening for X amount of time. These are the symptoms. This is what I've done. And this is what I am finding. And I found through that process, I got a lot more quicker results and action, where doctors, instead, if I was a bit wish-washy and said, I think it was round about a couple of weeks or a few days, I can't remember this or that, but I vaguely think it's round about that, they'll go, all right, well, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Whereas when I had everything recorded, it was like factual, and they were able to go, okay, so we know this has been going on for this length of time. This is the symptoms. This has been what's happening. It's been going on for a while. We need to do something about this now. So please, if it's one bit of advice I can give you that's really useful, is keep a journal. And through that process of the relaxation and tuning in with the body, it also gave me that sense of control and that sense that I was doing something for me, and it helped me relax. It helped my muscles. It helped my breathing. It's a wonderful process. So if you ever need to know, look up the relaxation response and do some like meditation or visualizations around that. It's a wonderful process. So I've given myself knowledge. I have given myself power. I have given myself respect. I am in control. And as we know, for something like this, and when you're going for treatment, not everything is in your control, but it is that sense that you have a plan and that you feel confident in what you're doing and the process that you are taking. And as I said, I had the opportunity to do natural therapies, which was huge in New Zealand. And I decided not to do that during my treatment. I did take a herbal tea while I was going through the chemo and radiotherapy, but you have to be careful because there are interactions that happen between drugs and natural therapies. So just be aware and make sure you're communicating with your doctors, practitioners, so everybody's on board and know what is happening. So for me, I decided once I finished treatment that's when I decided to really step into some of the natural, the diets, the supplements, the vitamins, that type of thing. So just be aware that there are many different options, and different things work for different people. And that's why we're all special and we're all unique. And it's finding your formula and the way that it works for you. So do your homework, trust your intuition. This is your body. You are in control, and choose the options that feel right for you. It's important. This hospice's statement is it's not the length of your life, but the quality of your life. And that has stuck with me through all my life, and through whether that was through treatment or whatever. So even when I went for treatment, I would get a little bit dressed up. And I didn't like wigs. They weren't really my type of thing. So hats were mine. I had these different hats that I could wear, and I would wear them to chemo. And I think I was the only person that took a picnic to chemo with lots to eat. Because it is different of how people, depending on what drugs you have, what type of reaction you're going to have with chemo. Like some drugs, You will lose your hair, and with others, you'll end up with big nauseas, vomiting, skin reactions, all sorts of different things. So it is important to understand the drugs that you're taking, the side effects, and where that's going to lead for you. For me, I knew that on a chemo night, which was a Wednesday, that I would probably be sick about 10 o'clock. And I hate vomiting. It's one thing I just really struggle with, is that I would probably have a couple of shots and then it's like, I'm fine. But I drank lots of water to rehydrate. So it's a very personal experience. But it is one that I found that even sort of from the beginning, that it didn't really change all the way through. I mean, fatigue was one thing, but as far as the feeling nauseous, feeling sick, it was more, I was on high dose prednisone, so I would have for 5 days where I just wouldn't sleep. I'd just be totally wired. People would say to me, "Oh, you're going to stay home and relax." It's like, I was 31. It's like, no, I'm going out. So just do what feels right for you. You've still got a life to live, even though you're going through these things. So take care, and I'll catch you in the next episode where we will just dive in a little bit deeper of some of those things that happen and along the way and how we deal with those. So take care, be well, and love lots. See you in the next episode.